is the marsh a wasteland? Marshes go by other names, lowlands and wetlands, and why is that? When you have an area near a lake or a river, there are low points. When we have a lot of precipitation in our environment, either from a heavy rainfall or the winter snow melts, our lakes, rivers, and streams have carrying capacities of this water, meaning they can only hold so much, and then they need more space. The wetlands, which is what we're seeing here, will serve the purpose of being that extra space for the water to go. So why are those extra spaces important? The water will travel to the lowest point, whether it is a gentle or heavy flow. Without wetlands, the water rushes onto roads, into parking lots, even into basements. Under extreme conditions, the surge of water erodes shorelines, washes out roads, and destroys homes. Does the water stay in the marsh? Eventually, the lake or river level goes down. Some of the water travels downstream, some of it will evaporate, and some is absorbed by the wetland. Ponds and little streams can form within the marsh itself. The plants we see growing here can tolerate extreme water level changes. Other species drown with too much water. Marsh plants have an aesthetic appeal, or they're attractive. But one of the coolest things about them is that with the soil, they work collaboratively as nature's filtering facility. For example, when we have a flood and water spills over lake shores and riverbanks, it carries all sorts of debris with it, such as plastic, paper, branches, leaves, oil, fertilizers, and so on. All this can end up in the marsh. Is that a bad thing? Well, these grasses and cattails hold on to what we can and cannot see, and these things are left behind once the surface water disappears. Pesticides, fertilizers, oil, and other chemicals will seep into the soil where tiny microorganisms do their task of breaking them down so they no longer are dangerous. Rivers, lakes, and soil that may have been contaminated a number of ways are cleaned by our wetlands, and the water is recycled back into our environment. Animals find purpose in a wetland under numerous circumstances. The marsh is an actual food web in motion, lush with vegetation that attracts birds and insects. There is a great bounty of food to be found in a wetland. Duckweed and algae-covered ponds are filled with tiny insect swimmers and crawlers. Ponds serve as a birthplace for dragonflies, mosquitoes, water boatmen, caddisflies, snails, and many more creatures. Tadpoles, frogs, and turtles are additional wetland creatures who establish residency in the marsh. Meanwhile, nesting birds we find in the marsh, along with muskrats, use the plentiful cattail stalks and leaves to make homes. Their babies will be well fed, and thanks to the camouflage that tall cattails provide, the youngsters are hidden from predator owls and hawks. Wetlands provide a stop and rest place for migratory animals that make the long trek in spring and fall to more favorable habitats. So as you can see, our wetlands are very much alive, active in importance to creatures and humans. We in Waukesha are indeed fortunate to have this vibrant place be a part of our Fox River watershed.